What's up, guys? He's done 200,000 in sales in a 12-month period. I'm here with Peter, who's getting into bulk books. I'm super excited to interview you and have you on the podcast. So welcome to the Amazon Savages.
Welcome to the Amazon Savages podcast. Hear the stories of Amazon sellers crushing it in the game and keep up with the latest strategies that are working. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you truly try and work really hard, you will make a ridiculous amount of money selling on Amazon.
Boom. So I was under the impression that you just started like a month ago because you've been posting on Instagram, you've been posting on Facebook, you've been hustling on the social media side, which I really respect. But I thought you were like straight off the turnip truck. I thought you were, just getting started, but it seems like you've been doing this longer than me. You've been doing this since 2010. So walk us through how you got started and really what your journey has been.
Sure, yeah. So I basically started on Amazon in 2010. I did online arbitrage and retail arbitrage. But before that, I actually did eBay. And when I was like in high school, this was before I could even drive. I'd go to thrift stores with my grandma and I'd just go find stuff to resell on eBay. So then Amazon came out. I heard about that and then saw a couple of videos. And so basically just started doing a little bit of retail arbitrage. And then I really don't like shopping. So I was like, yeah, this really isn't for me. So I did online arbitrage, did okay with that. And then it's like, took a class on doing private label because that was pretty big at the time. And then went into it thinking, I'll just go after, iPhone cases or something, and not realizing, that's going to be super competitive. Plus you have to have the inventory and stuff like that for like 6 months plus. So did the iPhone case, got it in. It was pretty good, but competition was too high. So I just pretty much bit the bullet on that. It was like $1,000, sold it on Craigslist for like cheap. So I made some of that money back. And then started the private label brand and had some pet leashes and stuff like that I was selling. And the best month that I had was like 3 or 4 months that I had 50,000 in sales. So I did pretty well with that.
What happened to that?
I moved. I was moving from Oklahoma to Texas, and I kind of wanted to just, I sold that brand. So I just I wanted.
What did you get on it? Did you get like a multiple of like 1 or 2?
Yeah, it was a 2x. So
nice.
So I did that for a couple of years, and I was like, okay, it went well, but I kind of just want to focus on myself, and then was moving to Texas, and so I took some of the money obviously and got out and did real estate and stuff like that, and I was done. I've always had like this itch for Amazon. It's like I did that, and I was kind of like, okay. I do the real estate, but I really like Amazon. So then I started doing wholesaling. So I did okay with that. And one of my friends actually just messaged me when I got the storage unit, which was kind of crazy for the bulk. He's like, because when I stopped doing wholesale, I gave him the products that I was selling. I just was like, hey, I'm not going to be doing it.
Yep.
And he texted me out of the blue. It was kind of crazy. And he's like, yeah, I just wanted to let you know I really appreciated your help and those products you gave me, because now I got a warehouse. So now he's got a warehouse and I got a storage unit. So, but that's kind of where it was. And then I got married last year, and my wife loves books.
Congrats.
Thank you. My wife really loves books, and I love Amazon. So we're like, I watched yours and Steve video on books, and then we went to thrift stores, and I was like,
5-day book selling workshop.
Yeah, that was the one. And I was like, it was pretty awesome. I watched it. I was like, crap, and I have to wait. I watched it all like that. And I was like, I got to wait for the next day. But
yeah, I'll link that video below, that video series. I'll link that below. Also, we have a Feed the Beast challenge. So if you guys want to challenge yourself in 2024 to grow your Amazon business, we have a Feed the Beast challenge, which just means it's a challenge to help you send more inventory to Amazon. There's a phrase, Feed the Beast. It just means get your inventory levels high enough to where you have consistent sales. Just keep sending shipments in. So if you guys want to challenge yourself in 2024, the Feed the Beast challenge link will be below as well.
Yeah, definitely do that, because my problem is we did that, and then we stopped because we were focusing on getting everything set up for bulk. So I haven't sent in anything for like 2 months. So it's kind of just like, now I haven't been feeding the beast. Now we sent in 314 books. But you could definitely tell like where you're getting pretty consistent sales, and then it just dropped off because we stopped sending in stuff. So
yeah. So your bulk source, did you get this from a thrift store, library?
So it's from a thrift store. So I kind of just, whenever we would have books that we wouldn't sell or whatever, we would go to different thrift stores and So I just got to know the people, like you say, networking is key. So whenever we go to thrift stores, I talk to the people that were there, the workers, and then I guess the main thing is just, someone might tell you no, but that, there's other people that will tell you yes. So you just got to keep consistent with it, because finding the supplier was a little bit challenging, but, I just spoke to a manager and got to know him, and, that was a pretty easy compared to finding what to do, because we didn't want to get into bulk and then be like, okay, now we have all these books, we don't know what to do with them. So I took me about a month of calling to find and getting to talk to people to find the manager that I work with now for the Gaylords of books. However, the duds, it took me 2 months. What I started doing is I would just call different, thrift stores and say, hey, we have these, would you be able to pick them up? We have a storage unit. And I got told, no. Mall, like, it was literally 2 months of no. And I was about to be like, okay, we'll just rent the truck and drop them off. It's not ideal, but we'll do it. And then I started like jotting down the times and who I talked to at different thrift stores. And so I just kept calling until I talked to someone else, someone new. And then ended up the last week, I was like, I'm going to do this if I can't find someone in a week. So I spoke to someone, and they're like, at the donation center, and they're like, oh yeah, the logistics manager's in right now for the whole area. So I spoke with him, spent about 20 minutes talking to him. He's like, oh yeah, I told him we'll get about 8 Gaylords every other week to start. Is that something that, you guys would be interested in? I can, drop them off. I was pretty much just going to give up on that and just talking to him. He's like, no, you have a storage unit. We'll come pick them up. That's awesome. So, so if you get into bulk,
and are they paying for them?
No, so they're just gonna. I do want to do recycling. So when we get bigger, I want to start finding recycling companies. But I mean, for 8 Gaylords, there's no recycling companies that'll pick up.
Dude, that's dope to have them picked up. That saves so much time.
Yeah, and so we have the source drop them off, and then the other donation company come pick them up. So we don't even have to do very much driving. I just go pay for them, and then they schedule a delivery. So.
And how much time does it take you to go through a Gaylord?
So we started out when we originally did them. It took us it was probably we went through one in a day because we were having issues and stuff like that, and just trying to figure out the software and stuff. But now we can go through 2, 3, 4 in a day. It depends. We're so new to it that we're also just learning. So I used to scan every single, my wife scans the barcodes and I do the ISBN lookups. So every time I would look it up and be like, okay, I'll plug this in and it'll tell me if I can sell it or if it's a pass. But now I can kind of just plug it in, and I don't even have to really, it takes 5 seconds. I can look at it before I even plug it into the software and just know, okay, this one's a dud. So, so now I'd say we're probably at 2.5 a day, and hopefully getting up with that. So. And
how many hours does it take you?
So we went through all 8 and listed and everything in about 50 hours. So.
Okay. 50 or 15?
So we went through all 8, listed them,
and
all that in 50 hours.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so it's about a work week.
Yeah, and it's about, so our projected profit, which I've posted on Instagram and stuff, is about $4,000. So I mean, it's not, for just my wife and I, it's not too bad. I mean, we want to.
Yeah, and you'll get better. You'll get
an hour, and
you'll get faster as time goes on and optimize. Did you ever, I know you're asking about Bill and Sell Back Your Book. Are you implementing sending books to a wholesaler?
So that's the plan. I actually, I tried getting a hold of Bill. I couldn't get a hold of him. I sent emails to Sell Back Your Book.
Come on, Bill. You're being exposed on the podcast, man.
So I sent emails in, and I didn't really get any responses. So I wasn't sure if they were getting them or not. And so then finally someone reached out and said, they saw the emails, they're waiting for something to open up, and then I'll be part of it. So we do have that. We have a Gaylord in there in the storage unit ready to go for whenever we do get access. But bulk is different. So it's not like, if the regular Sell Back Your Book is awesome, but this we can send in, multiple copies. So if we have 3 of the same one, they'll buy it. Whereas the regular Sell Back is just one. So
and they cover shipping too. Do you know what the projected profit on that pallet would be?
So it's kind of hard because if I had to guess, it'd probably be, I don't know, since we're so new into it, I can't really. I mean, yeah, I just thinking about it. I mean, most books that you send in, probably 600 books fit in a Gaylord. I say on average, and that's a low amount, probably 800 plus, and let's say an average of 10 cents. So and that's really low too. So I kind of like to estimate low, and then
Mm-hmm.
so.
100%. What are your 2024 goals?
So we want to hit. I think we can probably pretty easily do this, but we want to hit 100,000 in sales.
Nice.
And right now we're operating at we're working on our ASPs, average selling price. We're at about $21 average sales price. And we
Nice.
want to about 27% margin. So, which in bulk
Nice.
is pretty good, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. That's average sales price of 21 is damn good. And if you guys want, real quick, I'll show you. You can go to on GoToLister. We have average sales price already for you. It's crazy. My average sales price for it reset for the new year, so it's only showing sales today. But if you go to GoToLister and look at your dashboard, you'll be able to see what your average sales price is. And as a bookseller, the higher you can get, the better. If you're doing 100,000 in sales and your average sales price is 10, Amazon's probably only paying you out 10 or 15,000 because they're going to keep the other 90,000 in fees. Because on a $10 book, it's $8, $9 in fees. But if your average sales price is 20, 21, 22, you're keeping over half of that. So on 100,000 in sales, you're keeping over 50,000, maybe 60,000, and then paying 40,000 in fees. So sales are impressive. It's impressive to hear somebody do $1 million in sales, but how much did they pay to Amazon? And when it comes to selling books on Amazon, booksellers with higher average sales prices get paid more by Amazon. So generally they have higher profit margins, if their buy costs are still pretty low. And also on GoToLister, you can check out what your profit is. So you can enter what you paid for the product. And this dark orange bar is what your true profit is, while the other bar is just like what your Amazon sales are for the day. So it looks weird right now because it reset for the year and it's only showing sales for January 1st. But that's how you can check what your true profit is. Are you entering your buy cost when you list?
We do a zero buy cost.
Zero. Nice. Yeah, that's what I would do too.
A fixed cost since we already bought the Gaylords. Our plan is we're going to try to, starting out, we want to, get good at Amazon, but then we want to, branch out and try to optimize our deads as much as possible. But since it's our, just my wife and I, we don't really have too much overhead or anything like that. So right now we kind of want to focus on, more profitable books, sending those in. And then, so we miss out, since it's just us, for instance, we could find, extra 40, 50 books per box or per Gaylord. But, the time that it takes to label, well, I use GoToLister. So, I mean, it's quick to label it and stuff, but box it up and all that stuff. It's just, we wanted to optimize and try to focus on higher profits starting out. And then when we hire people, then it's like, okay, well, we can try to optimize this as much as possible.
How's the Wi-Fi in the storage unit?
So I hotspot it, and it's not the best, honestly. But
dude, I didn't even think about this, but somebody mentioned it. I did not mean to do this, but GoToLister is actually really good to use with slow internet connection, right?
Yeah.
Because you can scan as fast as you want. So you can scan like 5 to 10 books in. And even if the hotspot is going slow or your internet connection, this was completely unintentional, but it'll queue them in and do them one by one. The intention was you have fast internet connection, but Amazon's response time is slow. So even if you have the fastest internet connection in the world, sometimes Amazon takes 2 to 5 seconds to return the FN SKU label, that little label that comes out that you're supposed to put on the book.
Yeah, this one right there. I got
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Rollo right here.
Yeah, I got it too. Let me show you. It's set up on the shipping labels right now, but it's really nice. I saw your video, and that's what sold me. I was like, yep, I'm gonna get that. And so
the speed sold you
So I got the Rollo.
Oh, the Rollo, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rollo is dope because you can get cheap labels with the Rollo, whereas the Dymo this little inferior printer here. I use this as a label holder for the Rollo now. But the problem with this one is like, it's like the iPhone. You know how the iPhone makes you buy certain chargers? And this pisses me off so much. Apple will program their software to make other cheaper chargers that are just as good incompatible with iPhone. They'll literally make it incompatible. Like they'll spend millions of, I don't know how much money, but they'll spend thousands of dollars on paying developers to code their iPhone so it's not compatible with certain chargers. So you have to buy their chargers. So you have to buy, so it increased their revenue that way. Dymo did the same thing. And last year I was literally about to like recommend Dymo to everyone. And I bought the cheapest labels I usually do that used to be compatible with Dymo, but then Dymo changed their software. So the cheap labels were no longer compatible. And instead you had to pay like 3 times as much for the Dymo branded labels. And I was like, fuck Dymo. I'm going to try a Rollo. Rollo was compatible with all labels, the big labels, small labels, off brand, whatever. It'll print whatever you want on any label. And so that's why I recommend Rollo now. So
Yeah,
Rollo should sponsor this. I should reach out to them and have them sponsor the podcast.
You definitely should, because that's how I bought this one. Is I saw your video and you went over, because I was about to get the Dymo as well, and then I saw your video on this, and I was like, "Yep, I'm getting that one. That seems pretty good." So,
dude, what's so bad is like the old versions of the Dymos are selling for more now because they're still compatible with the cheaper labels. So people are willing to pay more for the older version. That just shows how shitty your new version is. Like if people are paying more for the old version, that means you made a bad update, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so I was about to ask, what are you doing with restricted books? But you have an account that can sell restricted books. That's
so we have
cool.
a couple that were like restricted. Like I have a stack here, a couple of these guys. Like we have this one, and just a couple of these. I still have to scan them all. They're just from, we got this one was the first one that we found. So we have very few, but I mean, going through so many of the going through so many books, there's just still a couple that were either we didn't apply, because some of the times I was grandfathered in, but some of them I had to apply for. And so if I didn't apply before they gated it, or restricted it, I'm restricted. So
are you doing any eBay sales?
So we're right now actually on that. So I basically didn't want to do any eBay until we learned about it and stuff. And I know that means we're missing out on some cost, but or some profit. But
I think you're being smart. I think focusing on one sales channel and mastering that and getting the flow, sending shipments out the door, I think that's smart. So
yeah, on that. So what we do actually is I made a next door post and said that I had a bunch of books. Was wondering if anyone that sold on eBay would want to come check them out. As we're going through them. Obviously, she's not looking at the ones that we're looking to sell on Amazon, but she basically just goes through. She picks some of them that she wants. And I get to pick her brain and learn more about eBay as we're selling on Amazon. So then when we're ready, we'll be able to kind of have that knowledge.
That's smart. Yeah,
and they were going to be donated anyway. So
you're leveraging a lot of relationships in really good ways to optimize your time. That's good. So with restricted books, what I recommend you do, or people do, you can do whatever you want, obviously, but you can look on bookscouter.com to see what other vendors are paying. So sell back your book, Valor Books. They'll actually pay you cold hard cash for you to send textbooks in. So I recommend you go there and look at that price. Then go to eBay and filter it by sold items and search the books like nursing 12th edition and look for people who have actually sold that book in the past, and then how much you could get it for and what the likelihood of it selling based on if only 2 sold over the last year. It's going to take forever to sell. But if 2 sold over the last week, probably a pretty fast seller. So eBay sold items. And the third one is my service, restrictedinventory.com. Grind hard, well done, sir. Where you can actually send us your book we don't even charge shipping. We factor that in the back end. So we can create a shipping label for you. So you don't have to pay shipping. Then when we get your book, we sell it on our Amazon, or not Amazon approved, but brand approved account. So we can sell all textbooks. There's not a single textbook we can't sell. And what we do is we sell the book for you and we split the profits 50-50. But a new thing we're doing this year is we limit our commission to $20. So we never take more than $20. So if you send us a $100 profit book, you keep 80 and we keep 20. So a lot of times, even if it's selling for, let's say $70 on eBay, it's probably selling for double or at least 40% more on Amazon FBA. You could probably sell that same $70 book that's selling on eBay for 120 on Amazon. And then we're going to limit our profit share to $20. So you actually make more profit sending it to restrictedinventory.com and pay nothing for shipping up front versus having to deal with eBay. Or the problem with these buyback websites is sometimes they say they're going to pay you. Sell Back Your Book is by far the best. And I'm not just saying that because I know Bill. They are by far, like, they will actually pay what they say they will for books. But there's a lot of websites. Valor is pretty good too, but there's a lot of others that
they'll
look
say
at your
they'll pay you $1 and then they pay you 3 cents.
Yeah.
Or they say,
or worse, they say they're going to pay you 30 and they'll pay you nothing, or they'll pay you 15, or they'll say it's not in good condition.
Or they're like, yeah, it's got a little scratch, or it's got a little itty bitty thing that can wipe off, so we're not paying you anything. So
yeah, exactly. So I think this year, people who sell or have access to high dollar profit textbooks, my hope is that they'll use restricted inventory, because I truly think it's like the best option now, because we're selling them on Amazon FBA, which has an extreme prime bump. There's less supply of textbooks than there's ever been because Amazon's restricting everyone. So the price of textbooks is actually going up. So if you use our Amazon approved account, you're going to make more money. So anyway, in rant on that, I'm excited about that.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw about the $20. Matt.
Yeah, that wasn't even my idea. It was a bulk bookseller. My partner, he's a bulk bookseller. And he was like, dude, I wouldn't use your service. The 50-50 split is terrible. And he was like, I would only use it if there was a cap on the profit. And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, let's change it then. And so we changed it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we'll pull in any textbooks, and then when we scan them, if they're restricted, we throw them in a pile for you. So
heck yeah.
Definitely. I mean, and there's a bunch of, software out there, companies that you can work with out there, but we want to limit it to, we could get, 5 cents or whatever more. No, we're going to use Sell Back Your Books, and we're going to use you for everything. So
yeah, I think that is smart, and not just saying this to plug my own service, but I think it was 6 years ago, I was in my parents' garage, and I just got back from a bookseller meetup in Phoenix, and this one guy, Matt Adolph, shout out Matt, he used to be such a hustler. I don't think he sells books anymore, but maybe he's an example of what not to do, because he was always like, everyone would listen to him at these bookseller meetups because he was so creative and ambitious and what's another word for it? Like, he just thought he could do everything. And he was like, this is what I do. He's like, when I get all the books, I scan them and I compare them to 20 different vendors. So like, he would like scan the book like several different times, compare it to all these vendors, and he would have like 20 different, his warehouse looked like a mess, and he'd have like all these different boxes everywhere. And I'm like, this guy's literally making as much money as possible on every single book. Like, he's taking a pallet that I would only make $300 profit, and he's making $700 profit on it. So I'm like, this guy's a genius. So I go back home and I set up like all these boxes in my parents' garage, and I'm like, all right, this one's going to go sell back your book. I didn't even know Bill back then, and they didn't have the bulk program back then. And I would put one in Valor Books. I would put one to Powell's Books. And I would have all these different boxes. And it was at the end, I'm like, holy shit. Like, I got this one box that only has one book in it. This other box is full. And it was just like such a mess getting all the labels. And I'm like, I probably just wasted so much time. Like, I would have been better off sending them all to one, which is Sell Back Your Book accepts the most. Even back then, they accepted the most. So I would have been better off sending it to the vendor that accepts the most, and then focusing on my Amazon FBA operation. And I was listing stuff on eBay too, like instructors editions and stuff. It was a mess. And so did I make more money on that pallet than I would have otherwise? Yeah. But
yeah,
then I wasted
time. Yeah.
I wasted time. Could I have made more money by going through another pallet and sending all that to Amazon FBA? Definitely. So instead of wasting an extra 5 hours squeezing out the profit on one pallet of books, spend 2 hours going through it, and then use those other 3 hours to go through another pallet and a half.
Exactly.
That's how you're thinking about things, and you're leveraging these relationships. And sounds like you've been in business since 2010, so you kind of understand the importance of optimizing your time.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, because we could have, like I said, we could squeeze, like you said about that. We could have squeezed more out looking for eBay and, trying to, say, okay, well, we, lower our, profit margin, et cetera, because I know we're only accepting minimum and $1.50 per book. I know a lot of bulk booksellers go after, if it's a fast, BSR book, they'll take, 50 cents, but we wanted to go into it, $1.50 is our minimum, and that's anything up to 500K. Anything over that, I think we go starts going up to 175 all the way up to, and then FBM we don't keep. I don't know the exact triggers because I just plug them in and then I just forget about that and just scan it. If it tells me to buy or to put it aside, we put it aside. But FBM we're only doing, which this is another thing we're missing out on a lot. But back there I have a couple. I don't know if you can see. We have a couple books that we're just sitting there, but we only do minimum of $25 profit. So we'll only keep it since we don't have a bunch of space right now. When we get a warehouse, we'll probably up that. But
and what sales rank you're going up to with that?
So our average right now on the FBM books is 2.5. We have it set to 99 million, and I kind of just did that so that I can, if it's going to be an FBM one, I'm going to look over it anyways. So I'm not going to just blindly be like, okay. So I'll look at it and I'll see, okay, this is a 3 million sales rank and it's making $50. I don't mind sitting on it for a little while if it's going to make that much money. Whereas if it's let's say it was 17 million, which I've never seen anything over 10. If it made us $200, obviously having something sit there and maybe sell once a year for $200 if it's not taking up much space. So
yeah. As far as your book business goes, like processing things, where do you see yourself at the end of the year? How many Gaylords a week would you like to be going through?
So right now, since my wife and I, we want to get up to we're going through 8 every other week. So 16 or 32 a month is our cap. And then after that point, we want to just pocket basically everything, save up for a storage unit, or not save up for a warehouse. And then I have some pretty cool plans. I saw some, this is down the road, but we want to get like the book sorters. So like we can just dump them out. That's our big final goal, is to get something that we can just have the Gaylord dumpers and they dump it out. And then we just put it on there, it scans it, and it shoots it off into where it goes. So
nice. Yeah. That's awesome. And then do you plan on scaling the book business and not including any other like online arbitrage or wholesale, or do you plan on branching out maybe to online arbitrage, wholesale, private label, or do you just really want to scale books?
Right now we want to focus on scaling books. Since we've done all that in the past, we want to just focus on this. We like it because we could build relations with people. It's a lot of work. Like my wife and I are doing it. She's jumping in and the Gaylord and handing me books that have ISBNs and she's tossing them. But it's a lot of work. But what I like about this most, like we went thrift stores, we went to library sales, and that's good. You can find a lot of really good books there, but it's not really scalable necessarily. You have to, it kind of caps. You can only spend so much time on it, and you can only, find so many, especially with other people. We like this because we are able to get the books. No one's been through them before. And we can just, go through them, scan them. It takes a bit of time, but
yeah, it also has a potential to be delegated too.
Yep, exactly. Once we get good and we're at the point where we have the warehouse, we want to start to, hire people and have them go through it and focus on growing the business. Whereas, scanning a book is not really necessarily the most eventful thing to do, the most fun thing to do. But we just figured right now, since we're small, it's just us, we can, capitalize as much as possible. And then, once we're ready to scale, we can just basically pull the trigger. So,
yeah.
And we learn a lot this way too. So
definitely. Have you been able to network with other bulk sellers like via Facebook or Instagram?
Yeah. So I've been talking with FBA Dave a little bit, and then Book Upcycle, which he's the one that actually inspired me. I saw his YouTube videos on like his conveyor setup, and I'm like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, those are two good people. They've been in business for years.
Yeah. So those are the two main ones that I talk with.
And you kind of ran your triggers through them, like what you just told me.
Yeah, and yeah, FBA Dave is like, you could probably take lower ones, for the fast moving ones. But eventually when we get to where we can have more than 8, because it's kind of right now we're just getting 8 every other week. So we're going through them and we're kind of just sitting on them for a little bit. So once we get to the point where we have more volume, then I want to, get that down to maybe 75 cents or so. But it also depends because Amazon is changing the fee structure pretty soon. So if they haven't already, so.
Yeah. What was their kind of take on the capacity limit situation?
So we didn't really talk too much about that because I did the math. So like if we do, right now we have 314 books, and it's like I think I'm capped at 100 right now because I haven't been selling too long with the books. So our plan, like I did the math, if it take us 10 months to run out of inventory space if we sent in, yeah, what was it, 900 bucks a month, 900 books a month. So, I mean, at least that's what I could tell. I mean,
It's kind of hard to plan with Amazon because even if you understand the current rules and like you understand them perfectly, on a dime they can just switch it and make it, whatever they want. So yeah, I think generally with booksellers is like the same mentality. Like send higher profit books in and send less slow moving books in. And
yeah,
that's always gonna kind of help you, regardless if they have restock limits. Like years ago, they made restock limits, which was per unit, which sucked for booksellers. Then they made capacity limits. Now they have. Well, you're not gonna get hit with this, but you will in a year. They have like, and if they even have it in a year, it's like a low FBA fee. Actually, no, you will get hit with this because you're not brand new. Low FBA fee. So it's like if you have low stock on inventory that Amazon thinks you should have more than one unit in for a 30-day supply, they're going to ding you with a small fee. The good
yeah,
news is a lot of books don't even qualify for that because most books they'll look at and they're going to say you should only have one in stock. You should not have more. So therefore you won't get hit with the fee. And again, all brand new sellers won't get hit with this fee, but I don't know what percent of books are going to get hit with that. But if you sell like a super fast moving book that doesn't have a whole lot of supply, Amazon might think that you need to have 10 in stock at all times. And if you don't, then they're going to ding you with the low inventory fee.
yeah. I watched your video on all that, and it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. So.
Yeah. And even as I made that video, I'm like, these are the current rules, but I guarantee you 6 months, they're going to change it again. Like this is like a huge experiment for them. So like take everything with a grain of salt.
And they make it so complicated to understand as well what they're trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but we're super excited about it, and we're gonna learn as well. We're new into it. We're open to sharing as much as we can, but we don't know too much, and we're kind of just went into it knowing that this is what we want to do, and we'll learn and adapt as needed. So.
I think you're super smart for starting the social media. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and tell people where they can follow you?
Yeah, so we're the FBA Book Duo on Instagram, and we post on a couple different Facebook groups that like Avery's. But we're just kind of sharing our journey and like what we learned and stuff. So like I went the first 8 that we went through. I documented, like I took a picture of us when we got them, and then we kind of I went through and used GoToLister, and I broke up each Gaylord, how much potential profit we have, things like that. So we're new to it, and so we're just trying to document it for anyone that wants to or could possibly want to get into bulk, and then if they have any questions or anything too, I'm available anytime. I'm not the best, but I'll do the best that I can. So with what I have. So
I think you got a bright future ahead of you for sure.
Yeah,
doing all the right things. You're working on the relationships. You're optimizing your time like crazy. You're posting on social media, which is going to help you in ways that you would never expect. Like your friend reaching out to you probably saw your social media posts, the wholesale guy. So it's not just like, completely random that the universe did that. It's you put the work in, you put yourself out there like a little antenna, and he saw it, so.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what 2024 has. So, and you have fun in Miami.
Miami. I used to live in Miami, but you're talking about Miami Sellers Conference.
Yeah, the Seller Conference.
Miami Sellers Conference is gonna be fun. That's coming up March 15th through the 17th. If you guys want, go to MiamiSellersConference.com. Show you guys real quick. Let's actually head on over there. Miami Sellers Conference. We got a couple of booksellers speaking.
I'm hoping next year I'll be able to make it.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. Joey Davenport, he's going to be doing $100K profit in textbook flips, Amazon to Amazon. And then we also have Vishal. This guy's doing $600,000 a month as a bulk bookseller out of Canada. Awesome. So it'd be dope for you to meet him because he's crushing it and he could give you some good tips. So either way, you should maybe reach out to this guy. He's on Instagram, Van City Books.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
books. I'd reach out to him. He's young too. He's like, I think he's only 23 or 24, maybe less. But yeah, anyway, then we got a bunch of wholesale. We got Reezy Resells. You look like you're a Reezy fan.
Yeah.
You're in the hat.
Yeah. I remember watching a lot of his videos back in the day. And
yeah, we got Watch Me Amazon. He's doing wholesale 1.5 mil a month, runs a pretty lean operation. We got Warner Fields. These two kids, I knew them really before they started to pop off, but now they're crushing it with online arbitrage. My best friend Taylor. Who else we got? Corey, Tom. Tom travels. I met him in Mexico City. Met up with him in Mexico City. I knew him before, but he's doing 7 figures online arbitrage. He's got like 20 plus virtual assistants. So just like a plethora, variety of different sellers coming together.
that's a really good lineup.
Yeah, we get the booksellers, we get the online arbitrage sellers, we get the wholesalers like Amazon Lit. Like they're probably the biggest Amazon seller I know right now. It used to be Scott Needham, but I think they've surpassed him. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
You.
Yeah, that's a picture from way back. Everyone says I look way different. That's what I made this picture for my LinkedIn for when I was really trying to land a bunch of book deals. So I went to a library nearby and I tried closing. Dude, I was a hustler. Every library I walked into, I tried to get them on consignment with me to send me books. So
that's awesome. But yeah, so on that, we do kind of eventually, probably once we get the books scaled up, we'll probably want to start doing a little bit more wholesale, but
yeah,
kind of just focus on, I don't like to do too many things at once. So once we get one thing going, then
the benefit of having a book operation is you're good at processing a lot of inventory, hopefully at a low cost. Hopefully you've optimized it. And online arbitrage kind of makes sense, but the thing about online arbitrage is you really have the advantage in the tax-free states. So if you're, for every $100 you spend on an online arbitrage product, you save $6 if you don't send it to a state with sales tax. So like Oregon, New Hampshire, Montana, there's all these states that don't charge sales tax. So you can literally increase your margin by more than 6%, your net margin, but just gross margin by 6% by not having that sales tax. But when it comes to a bulk bookseller looking for something that's really going to complement, I think wholesale does, because when you look at wholesale products prepping as a bookseller, you're like, oh, this is easy as fuck, because you've been processing books, which each book has a different UPC. It's got a different ISBN, different ASIN. Wholesale product comes in, 1,000 units of the same supplement. You're like, this is easy as shit. Like I just scanned 1,000. Are you kidding me? And you ship it out the door. Not as many splits, or if there are splits, you don't have to wonder, because with books, if there's splits, that's why with GoToLister we've optimized with the box content flow, but you have to find out what books go in what box. If you get splits with a supplement, it's all the same damn supplement. So you just fill up some box with some with the other. So if there's a product out there that's going to make $2 profit per unit, that is not profitable for someone if they're going to send to a prep center, because they're going to have to pay $2 to prep it. But for you, you might be able to prep the item for, if you're not paying anybody for free, essentially you still have your time. But even if you are paying someone, you could probably get it down to 25 to 50 cents. And now you're able to sell products that nobody else is. Exactly. So that's an advantage, I think, that people with warehouses have. I think that is the advantage that warehouses have. So people in wholesale that have warehouses versus people that don't, they're able to go after lower ASP items. And, it still might be crazy ROI. Like for the $2 profit item, maybe you're only paying $1 for it. And if you send it to a prep center, you're making $0 because all the prep fees. But anyway, that's kind of what I think. I think it makes sense for bulk booksellers to maybe consider wholesale, because they already have the whole setup, optimized.
Yeah, I agree. And they have the space for it as well. So,
yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Everyone go follow him, the FBA Book Duo on Instagram. You're also on Facebook in the groups. Peter, is it Gustus? Is that how you say it?
It's Gustus.
Gustus. Yeah. Peter Gustus. And also we have the Feed the Beast challenge. So if you guys haven't already, click the link below, Feed the Beast. And that's a challenge for 2024 to help you guys send more inventory to Amazon. It's got over 100 videos, step-by-step, showing you how to build your book business. I used to charge $400 for that course. Now you can get it for free. So Feed the Beast challenge. Let's get it.
Thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure, man.
Yep. Peace out.
All right, peace.